So today I wanted to talk about something that has definitely been a issue in online games over the past few years. Basically ever since crossplay became a thing where console and PC players can actually play with each other, which when I was growing up was basically unheard of. That did not exist at all. It was basically if you had an Xbox, you can only play with Xbox players. If you're on PlayStation, you can only play with PlayStation players. And when I was growing up, I had all of these platforms. I had PlayStation, Xbox, PC, even had the Wii. But when I decided to buy a lot of these multi-platform games and a lot of these online games, I had to decide which version of the game to buy and which friends I could play the game with, especially going back to the Call of Duty games like Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, because I had a lot of kids in my school that played it on PlayStation, but there were also a lot of them that were on Xbox, so I had to make a choice. I couldn't buy the same game twice because I felt like that was just a waste of money, and plus I always bought the DLC, so that would have been, what, like $240 or 200 and something like that, over $200 to buy the full game plus the DLC twice. So I'm glad that we have crossplay now. Don't get me wrong, I am happy that that's a thing. I think the way that it's been implemented has been very flawed in the sense that they never implemented input-based matchmaking where the matchmaking process was dependent on the type of input device you had. So, if you had an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, you would only get matched up against other players that are also using a controller. Same thing with keyboard and mouse. If you had a keyboard and mouse, you would only be matched up with other players that are also using keyboard and mouse. Obviously, this is the most fair way to do matchmaking as far as there not being a huge competitive advantage for people that are on keyboard and mouse, because the way it is with games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, and a lot of these other popular games that have crossplay is that there's no difference between having a keyboard and mouse or having a controller. Like it'll say, like you notice when you're in a Call of Duty lobby, it'll show the input device that everyone has in the lobby, but most of the time it's pretty split down the middle. Like half the players have a keyboard and mouse, half the players are using controller, and it just feels like if you're playing these online games with a controller, you're putting yourself at a very serious disadvantage. There are a lot of PC players that try to argue that aim assist with controller is actually the thing that gives disadvantage to the PC players using keyboard and mouse, but no, even with aim assist on a controller, keyboard and mouse is so much more accurate, and any way you slice it, unless you're using some kind of cheating software, controller is just not on the same level as keyboard and mouse in terms of accuracy, that you'll have an average keyboard and mouse player up against a professional player with a controller. And a lot of the times, the average player with keyboard and mouse is actually going to win that gunfight. They actually did a thing years ago. I believe it was Titanfall 1 or Titanfall 2, whichever one. They actually did a tournament or some kind of match where they actually had pro players, professional Titanfall players with Xbox controllers going up against average players on PC with keyboard and mouse. And guess what? The average players on keyboard and mouse fucking kicked their asses. So it's a real thing. There's a huge disparity between controller and keyboard and mouse. It's not a made-up thing. It's 100% real. And I just find it so weird that a game series like Call of Duty talks so much about having things on a level playing field for all players. That's why they implement skill-based matchmaking in public lobbies. In every single game, you have strict skill-based matchmaking to the point where they break up lobbies after every game to enforce the skill-based matchmaking and make sure that it's being implemented in every game. But at the same time, they allow keyboard and mouse players to go up against people with controllers. It's just, it makes no sense. I mean, it makes sense because if they have input-based matchmaking for Call of Duty, anyone on PC, like the PC community for Call of Duty would be dead because most PC players are on keyboard and mouse. But before they had crossplay, every single Call of Duty game that would come out on PC every year after year after year, would be completely dead within a few months because the PC COD community just wasn't there. Like, it was kind of a catch-22. People didn't play Call of Duty on PC because there were no players, but there were no players because people weren't buying it. So, crossplay definitely did a lot of great things for PC COD, but to the detriment of console players, I would argue. And I am a PC COD player, well, at least with the newer games I am, not so much the old Call of Duty games, because they're terrible. Call of Duty 4, Worlds at War, Modern Warfare 2, all the classic games are completely just fucked on PC right now. Like, Black Ops 3, the game I'm playing right now, if you try to play it on PC, you actually can get your entire computer can be hacked and compromised just by joining a public lobby. Like, it's bad. So, when it comes to the older COD games, I stick to the old Xbox One, but with the newer Call of Duty games, like from Modern Warfare 2019 until Modern Warfare 2, I always bought the PC version because of crossplay. Modern Warfare 2019 was the first COD to have crossplay. So, as a PC player, I'm definitely happy that crossplay exists, but I gotta call it right down the middle. I gotta be honest about the way things are. This shit is really unfair for console players, and the way they do crossplay definitely needs to be changed. We need input-based matchmaking. I'm actually someone that, despite being a PC player, and there actually are certain games, like Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, just the feel of the game, the movement and all that stuff, it feels more like keyboard and mouse is more suited for that. But with Black Ops Cold War, it actually feels like an actual Call of Duty game, unlike Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 that play more like Battlefield and Rainbow Six Siege, and it has more tactical gunplay and all that kind of stuff. But Cold War actually feels and plays like Call of Duty, minus the skill-based matchmaking and the awful score streak system that game had. It felt like Call of Duty at its core, and actually, despite having it on PC, I spent a lot of time, most of my time, like I would say 95% of all my playtime with Cold War was on controller. So input-based matchmaking would benefit me too as a PC player, because me enjoying Call of Duty on controller, which is the way that it's honestly meant to be played, you notice all the esports tournaments are with controller, it would be better if keyboard and mouse, you just don't have to worry about being up against those types of players. And I recently did a poll on my community tab, and it seems like most of you agree. Almost 90% of you agree. And maybe that's just because most of my fans, or most of my viewers, whatever you want to call yourselves, you guys are more on the console side of things, and you guys are definitely feeling the negative effects of the crossplay a lot more than someone who is, like primarily a PC gamer that loves playing on keyboard and mouse, because they love being put up against controller players because it's easier to pub stomp and it gives a much bigger advantage for them. Which I understand, but it's not good for the community at large. I don't think it is. Definitely not. I think input-based matchmaking could work if they expand access to keyboard and mouse for console players, because there actually are a lot of console players that would love to use keyboard and mouse with a lot of these games, like Console Siege, and a lot of games, even Modern Warfare 2, I guess, for Call of Duty. A lot of players would love the option for keyboard and mouse, but it's not a universal thing. For some reason, there are a lot of developers that try to block console players from using keyboard and mouse, which is just so weird to me, because these same developers have no input-based matchmaking, so PC players using keyboard and mouse can go up against them and they can get wrecked, but they can't level the playing field by also using keyboard and mouse on console. It's just so weird to me. But I think the experience would be so much better if we had input-based matchmaking and if console players had more access to keyboard and mouse. It just seems like a win-win for everybody. For some reason, the developers, the publishers are hesitant to go in that direction, but there obviously are a lot of people that are not happy with the way things are right now, especially console players with controller. There's a reason why so many console players turn off crossplay, because they don't want to go up against keyboard and mouse players, and I can't blame them. So hopefully someday the situation gets rectified with crossplay. It's overall a really great thing for everybody, but the lack of input-based matchmaking is definitely a huge problem that needs to be resolved. Hopefully someday it will. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As always, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.